Excited to get to come to the stage with me. You've seen her dancing around. She's very happy to be here. Well, tonight we do have a very special guest, and she's been a friend of mine for, I can't even remember how long, very, very long. Sister in the movement many years before she became a skillster, and we were able to hire her to run our Western Kansas branch office, and she's been out there doing that for a long time now. 10 years, all right. And then, LouAnn has also been a leader at the national level for a long time, as well as the state level. But currently, she is the president of the National Council on Independent Living. And they're the folks who lead the fight for us in Washington, D.C. and defend each of us as states as things go wrong within the bureaucratic systems for us. And so, it's a great honor for us to be the sponsor and the employer of the president of NCIL, but even more importantly, it's special because she's one of us. So, everybody please welcome Miss LouAnn Kibbee. Whoa. Sherry and I are attached at the hip sometimes, but not literally. Well, first of all, before I get started, I do want to say thank you to the Skill Board, especially, for helping to sponsor me as a member of the National Council on Independent Living Board. It's important work and vital work that needs to be done, and I've enjoyed it for so many years, and I appreciate the fact that Skill sponsors me to do that. So first of all, I want to say I am so honored to be here tonight. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it really comes from my heart. I come from a very large biological family. My brother Don, who's in the back of the room, is also part of the Skill family too, and I know he's going to kill me for this, but I'm going to say happy birthday to him tomorrow, and I won't tell the number. And as I say happy birthdays, I want to say happy birthday to Alyssa, one of our staff out in Hayes' office, her birthday's today. So anyway, my point being about family is I have the privilege, obviously, serving on the National Council, to be part of an extremely large family of the independent living movement across the country. And Skill is a part of that large independent living family that is so close to my heart. So when I say I am honored to be here, I am especially proud to be here with my Skill family tonight. So, speaking of family, so one of the things I've always been taught is families should be there for each other, ready to jump in and help each other, right? And so I know as members of the Skill family that we've always been tried to do our very best as Skill employees to help our communities and help the people in our communities. And actually Skill's been quite successful. And that's why Skill is actually one of the leaders nationally across the country, and one of the Center for Independent Living that's very well known across the country for our leadership in independent living, amongst hundreds of centers for independent living. So the second thing I've been taught is that sometimes situations change, and family is just not always able to take that lead on helping people, and that sometimes we have to work hard to help ourselves and the people we care about. And Skill has worked hard to help our family for 22 years. And the last few years have been a real struggle. So we know there are many people across the state that are not getting the assistance that they need. Whether it's attendant care services, assistive technology services, home modifications, independent living skills, peer support. There's all kinds of services that are out there needed by people, and most people need a combination of these services. So what is the solution? Well, the National Council on Independent Living has a long list of policy issues that we work on at the national level, all of which trickle down to benefit all of us at the local level, and our skilled family and all of our communities across the country. So we can rely on Nickel to advocate on our behalf in Washington, D.C.
I didn't see your camera there.
But Nickel still needs all of the voices at the local level to make sure that we can get the assistance needed for people with disabilities. So what is the solution? The solution is, and the one thing that I want you all to take home with you tonight, besides the fact that you're going to have a good evening with good friends and family and good food, but the one thing I want you to know is the climate has changed in Kansas, and each of you must take action to make change. It is not just important that people get involved, but it is absolutely vital that people get involved. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. Sometimes people think we're trying to scare people. But I'm telling you that it is time to get real. It really is. It's time to get real. If you or someone you know is on a waiting list for services, and there's a lot of people on waiting lists for services, or you're receiving services, or you may need any of the services in the future, or you want to support other members of the skilled family that are in these situations, then you need to listen closely again, because it is vital that each and every one of you get involved at the local, state, and national levels to make change. There are many changes happening in programs coming down from the federal and state levels that will have drastic impacts on services that people are receiving and some hope to receive someday. There have been many cuts in recent years to many of these services, and there will be more coming in the future unless we can stop the cuts by everyone using their voices.
Right there, stand it.
So I'm telling you, not only as an advocate, but as a peer, and as a person with a disability, home and community-based services must be available for people with disabilities who are eligible and want the services. It is not only a legal right, but it's the right thing to do. When we live in our communities, we contribute to our communities. We contribute in many ways by raising our families in our communities, going to school in our communities, volunteering and working in our communities, attending spiritual services in our communities, shopping in our communities, renting or buying homes in our communities, participating in our communities, paying taxes in our communities. And we contribute in many ways, many other ways that just like people without disabilities do. So therefore, it is time that our contributions to our communities are valued. And they are valued when real funding is put into programs like home and community-based services, assistive technology services, home modifications, independent living skills, peer support, low-income housing. I can go on. that give us the opportunity to contribute. But this will not happen unless you all understand how critical it is that you each use your own voice to speak out about the importance of services for people with disabilities. This is to help you, and this is to help you, and you, and you, and everyone in this room will benefit one way or another. It's your future. And I know, because I was on Medicaid. I was there. I needed the services. I got the services. And I'm very thankful that they were there. I'm very thankful the services were there. But let me tell you, there were bumps in the road. There were times I had to fight to keep the services that I had. And I had to do the same for my brother, who was on the developmental disability waiver program for years. So I completely understand the need for these services and programs. I also know that we cannot just depend on other people doing the right thing. I know that I had to use my voice to express how critical services were to my life, and I did the same for my brother Tim. You all have a voice, and you all have a story to tell. And it's time to tell your story to your state and federal legislators and the governor. If you are on a waiting list for services, then tell them why you need the services and how it will improve your life. If you are receiving services currently, great. But tell them how the services are improving your life and benefiting your family. Because don't take for granted that those services are going to be there forever, I can tell you that. And if someone you care about receives services, tell them how you think it is benefiting that individual and your life. If you work for someone who receives services, tell them how much that job means to you and how it's benefiting the individual that you work for. If you are someone who supports people with disabilities being independent, and you want to know that these services are going to be there someday when you need them, then tell them about it. Tell your state and federal legislators and the governor about it. They don't know if they don't hear your stories. No one can be your voice. And I mean no one can be your voice. So it is necessary that you learn to use your voice. If you need help finding out who your legislators are or help writing a letter, skilled staff are available to help and willing. But we need it to be your story. So many legislators have told me through the years that nothing impacts them more, nothing, than real people telling their personal stories. So I challenge everyone to write up your story and send it to your state and federal legislators and the governor. But don't stop after telling your story once, because you need to keep telling your story whenever it's needed, which is often. Because unfortunately, change does not happen fast. It takes time. But change can happen. People tend to think that they are just one person and they can't make change. That's not true. If we all unite and use our voices, we can make change. But if we continue to use our voices and tell our stories, then we can be successful. So I hope all of you follow through, because your story could be the one that makes the difference in the future. Thank you.
So walker. He brought it for you.
Can you hear me? Really? Okay, listen up, listen up. Every year we do this. Yeah, we do this. And I want to say this. I've known LouAnn for a lot of years. We've been at the same place, at the same time, for the same cause. And LouAnn has been fighting, not just for LouAnn, but LouAnn has been fighting for each and every one of us. She has devoted her life to each and every one of us. And as she spoke today, she didn't tell it like she could, because she's out there in the rain, in the snow, in the heat, 115-degree weather, because she believes in what she's talking about. But it's about you. It's about you. And that's what she's devoted her life to. And I've been there with her to witness this. And I can't say enough for LouAnn, because this sister has been for the cause. She's been about you. She's been about whatever she can do for you. And it's been a rocky road. And guess what? We got some storm clouds above us right now. I don't know if you heard her. She said it. But I don't know if you heard it when she said it. But we got some storm clouds ahead of us. So you better be looking, because if you get complacent, you might miss out. It's not written that you're going to be here tomorrow and have the same benefits. The same turf we fight for 20 years ago, we fight for again today. And we're going to have to fight for it again tomorrow, and then, and again, and again. So you better look out. But I'm honored to have done this portrait for my sister. I love her. I've seen her work over the years. I'm in awe of her. I wish I could be like her when I grow up. So it's my pleasure to present this portrait to LouAnn, our sister.
Thank you all. You don't know how much I admire Skip and his work. I mean, I was a calendar girl a while back, but this is just awesome. I will hang it in my office very proudly. Thank you so much.
Okay, the meeting rolls on.